Welcome in to House of Horns. My name is Victor Corona, aka Victor Producer, and joining me as always is Gilbert Manzano, who does it for Sports Illustrated MMQB. And Gilbert, I think it's safe to say that the Rams have found their identity, and their identity is their defense and special teams. What do you got to say about that?
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I'm very curious to see the reactions from Rams fans and see the feedback here. Don't be shy. Let me know your feelings about this game because you should be very excited about being very close to wrapping up an NFC West title. But it's starting to get to the point where, like, okay, is this like Groundhog's Day where the offense when is the offense going to show up? Like, you got that amazing game against the Buffalo Bills, and that's about it in the past 5-6 weeks here. But I keep saying it. Credit to that damn defense that Chris Shula is running right there, and Ahkello Witherspoon saved the day. I thought, oh, here we go. You saw Matthew Stafford on the sideline
Yeah.
sweating, shaking his head, like, oh man, we kicked ourselves with that terrible 3-and-out there, and then Witherspoon with that interception. Also, credit to Kyler Murray. What are you doing throwing a fastball to Trey McBride? I know McBride should have caught that. If the ball hits your hands, catch it, but just tap it in. Just a little soft pass. You get a touchdown, and you steal the game there. So chaotic ending. I'm sure a little bit of a roller coaster for Rams fans, a sour taste there. But hey, you're almost on the verge of winning the NFC West. You need the scoreboard to break your way there, Victor. I don't know if you wrote it down. I lost
Yes,
track,
I got it.
but I think one victory came through for the Rams today. So, yeah, you're looking nice at least when it comes to the scoreboard, winning games, taking care of business. But yeah, the offense has me a little worried for them.
Yeah, I was just checking, but yes, they as you mentioned, the Bengals helped them out today, so that's one. Now that takes it down to three teams that they need, and that is, let me get to it here. I had it written down. I apologize. I'm sure a lot of people Commanders, Bills, 49ers, Vikings, or Browns. So they
Okay.
just need three more wins from any of those teams
Yeah,
this weekend.
Commanders are playing the Falcons. I feel good about that for them. And then no Tua probably against the Browns. You might get that one. You said the Bills was the other one with the against the Jets or Patriots. I forget.
Yeah, so it's the Bills, 49ers, Vikings, or Browns.
Yeah, and then you got the 49ers with the Lions. I don't feel good about that one. But Bills, Browns, Commanders, I think there's a good shot there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And like you said, this is the defense third straight game, Gilbert, where they hold the opponent to under 10 points. They did it. That was the thing I was checking. So they held the 49ers to 6 points, the Jets to 9, and tonight
Ooh.
the Cardinals to 9.
Man, that is impressive. And then even like you mentioned with special teams, Victor, that blocked extra point kick there. All the Cardinals needed would have been a field goal, not that touchdown pass to Trey McBride that went off his hands. Just kick the field goal, maybe you win that. But who knows? Maybe in that moment, they're going for that touchdown regardless, anyways. But it changed their whole mindset. So even that missed extra point attempt changed the outcome a little bit too. But defense stepping up. I think 4 sacks for the defensive front there for the Rams there. So, yeah, I am worried about this Rams offense here, but maybe you're always going to have a chance because the defense keeps playing lights out.
Yeah, they've been impressive. I mean, they're the reason they've won these last 3 games. I know we continue to wait for the offense, but at this point, honestly, I'm just gonna talk about the defense just because, and we'll get to the offensive struggles, of course. And we'll see. We'll go over all that, but I just want to give the Rams defense their flowers. Brandon Fisk is, as you said, his eighth career, he recorded his 8th sack of the season. That is now tied. He's now tied for the lead with Kobe Turner with the 8, and then his 8 sacks are most among all rookies. So he should be up for Rookie of the Year, and then he's tied for third all time in Rams history behind Kobe Turner with 9 last season, and then Aaron Donald, back in the day
Hmm,
about 11 years ago.
good
So
company right there.
he's in good company. So hopefully he can get to 10, break the Rams record, and then also pick up the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, again, Chris Shula needs more attention, needs to get more credit there. And yeah, just the work he's done with that defensive front. even a linebacker like Omar Spades, who really needs to step up, undrafted rookie, just doesn't play like a rookie. He plays like a savvy veteran. And then, like, I don't know where I feel like somebody's always helping out in the secondary. The secondary is always, I shouldn't even say that. I feel like secondary has made improvements. They haven't really been up and down since that Bills game there. Even today's defensive performance, Victor, they were giving up yards. Kyler Murray got 300 yards passing. I'm pretty sure Trey McBride got over 100 yards receiving. Even Marvin Harrison Jr. got a good amount of yards, but that red zone defense was pretty lights out. Interception. I think maybe a fourth and goal that got stopped. Also, forcing them to take a field goal. So besides the McBride touchdown, he finally got a touchdown, by the way, McBride. Uh,
Yeah.
Other than that, they're playing pretty good red zone defense. A little bit bend don't break, but hey, 9 points is nothing to sneeze about.
Yeah, and then I think, believe it or not, I mean, Michael Hoy with the block kick there, the extra point, that's now his third one of the season, Gilbert. That's the second most
Three,
by a
wow.
Ram player in a single season, trailing only Corey Littleton, who had 4 in a season. His 3 block kicks lead the NFL. So, and that, I mean, that was huge too, because if he doesn't do that, the Cardinals have a chance to tie this game twice here late in the game. So, and we could have seen what happened with Arizona, with the Bengals, and Broncos game where they went to overtime. So a lot of like I said, this team has finally found their identity, and it has to do with their defense and their special teams.
Yeah, it was a rough day for the running game. Kyron Williams didn't get that many yards. Matthew Stafford really struggled too. Like, it was just Puka Nacua, and Puka Nacua always stepping up, and he's like their one consistent playmaker all year. He missed those games early on in the season, but since he's came back, he hasn't been the problem. It's like, how can you get the collective
Yeah.
effort there? How can you get the deep ball going? Is it the play calling? Is it Matthew Stafford? Is it also the banged up offensive line? No Rob Havenstein. That could be an issue for the running game and the passing game. So, but even when they had the 5 that they usually like there with Dotson, Avila, Bo Limmer, and Alaric Jackson with Havenstein, they haven't really produced a lot of points. They're able to kill the clock, and they're able to run the football at least when they have the starting 5 there. But even
Hmm.
with those 5, they're not getting touchdowns. They're not throwing the ball down the field. So now, is it a Stafford thing or is it a McVay thing? And I'm starting to think it's maybe more of a Stafford thing right now. Maybe in this back end of the season, he's maybe struggling a little bit with the fatigue, or who knows. I'm just guessing here, but there's something that, after like what, 5, 6 games, you start thinking there's something here that we're not talking about, or they're just really that inconsistent right now.
Well, I'm going to give you 2 things here. I think it can be 2 things. It could be the fact that Rob Havenstein didn't play in this game, and then you have his replacement, Joe Noteboom, who had 3 holding calls filling in for him. So that's
Yeah.
not good. And then you also have the fact that this team is super reliant on Puka Nacua. Since returning from injury reserve in week 8, Puka has recorded 5 straight games with 100 plus receiving yards, which is, the most in the NFL over that span.
Mm.
And then you look at the receiving stats today. You have Puka Nacua with 129 yards. The rest of the receivers finished with 50 yards. So, I mean, they're just way too reliant on Puka Nacua, and that's not a way you're going to win in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a Sean McVay thing. How can you get the ball, or give? Obviously, Matthew Stafford is distributing the ball there, but how can you get more playmakers involved with the scheme and the play calls that's on McVay there? So, uh, yeah, we'll see how things shape up for the scoreboard and the strength of victory tiebreaker. Part of me feels like they should, always rest their players in week 18. I think Sean McVay would do that because that's what he usually does in those situations, but maybe like a drive or 2 to get those that gets that bad kind of mojo in there with the offense to get back in the groove, get it going. But it's not the preseason. You don't want to have like one
Yeah.
drive or 2. So I will rest them. But I think these guys have been playing football together long enough to break out of a funk in 2 weeks, and maybe rest is what they need. The offensive line could get healthier. Matthew Stafford could use the rest, right? He's an older
Hmm.
quarterback, so yeah, part of me is kind of like, yeah, get on the field to break out of the funk there before the playoffs, but don't want to risk injury. You rather be rested before a home wild card playoff game. Again, I am, but say Victor, it doesn't break their way here. It's looking like it probably will, but if it doesn't, now you're in this primetime game with probably with the Seattle Seahawks, and yeah, you better break out of your funk.
Yeah, I mean they need to get things rolling. Yeah, you can't continue to rely on the defense to bail you out. Not when you're facing, you know, it's probably most likely going to be an NFC North opponent unless you have something where the Packers lose two straight and then the Commanders jump up to the fifth seed. So or the sixth seed. We don't know. It's hard to know at this point, but we do know that the Rams are needing three wins from those teams: the Commanders, the Bills, the 49ers, the Vikings, and the Browns. So they win any of those teams win three, any of those uh, teams win three, then the Rams are in and don't have to worry about it on Sunday. So I think we're all kind of we're here at House of Horns. We're all hoping for that too, because then it kind of makes it easier for us to kind of project what happens uh, uh, in Week 18.
Yeah, if the scoreboard breaks their way, then you could talk about, hey, maybe they're number 3, number 4. Do you possibly play to stay at number 3 because Buccaneers and the Falcons are one game behind you? I don't know. I haven't looked that far. Say all 3 teams finish with the same record, or the NFC South champion and the Rams same finish with the same record. Who gets a tiebreaker? I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I think when the Buccaneers and the Rams were tied, the Bucks had the tiebreaker, so maybe that could favor them. But the Buccaneers are not in first place right now. So, yeah, I'm not too sure how that works out, but we haven't got to that point. Let's see how these
Yeah.
games break on Sunday. And then when we get back on Thursday to break down the Week 18 matchup, we could discuss seeding or an NFC West title here for the Rams. But I can't remember the last time where a team is waiting for scoreboards to break on a Sunday after playing on a Saturday of Week 17 to know, hey, are we resting our players or not for Week 18?
Yeah, and I'm sure they're all going to be at the facility either tomorrow or Monday waiting around to see what happens. I don't see them rooting for the 49ers, but you never know on
That's a
Monday. I
lot of
don't
games, though, when you think
I
about it, to
know.
keep track of.
I know. I could
It's
just see them watching, like, how you have the four box. I could see
Yeah, they have
them
their
having.
phone out, like, "Okay, what do we got
Yeah,
here? Can you put the Commanders game on over here and put the
yeah,
Bills over here?"
yeah. That'll be something to kind of see from the social media aspect, to see if the Rams social media team puts stuff out there, like who are they rooting for, like telling the Rams, okay guys, you have two of these teams that we need to win, so make sure we're rooting for these teams. That'll be something fun. Let's get to some of these comments, Gilbert. We've gone over 10 minutes here and we haven't gotten people involved. ESG, who's been holding it down lately for us here, he says three straight games where the offense
Has not.
hasn't shown up. That is worrying.
Yeah, definitely concerning for me too as well. Yeah, but I shouldn't get too concerned for this team because yes, I've seen them do this movie before where they break out of funks out of nowhere. Maybe it's all part of the strategy, Victor. We're like,
Yeah.
hey, don't show your best plays, don't show your good stuff. Let's see how how the game is going, how's the script of the game going. All right, it could be a defense day, and then we'll save it, but after 4 or 5 games, maybe it's not part of the strategy.
Yeah, and it's a divisional game. You knew this was going to come down to, it was going to come down to the final play, and it pretty much did. So you just you're just happy that you came out with a win here, because honestly, it just didn't look good there towards the end. It looked like the Cardinals were on their way to win this game, and it was going to set up a win or go home against the Seahawks. And now you're just waiting for other teams to see if they win, and you're in, and don't and you get to rest your players in Week 18. But we'll see. I mean, there's a lot to kind of play for too. Do you want to get that extra win just to have a better record than you did last season? Right now you're around if you lose against the Seahawks and you're into the playoffs, you win the division. Is that all you care about? I would assume so. We know how McVay is. He's gonna his thing is gonna be to rest everybody. So
Yeah.
defense. James Wheelock says defense paves the way. Offensively, Rams need to step it up.
Yeah, I'm with you, James, and yeah, but they're still in a good spot. Everything keeps breaking their way. I feel like for the past 3 weeks here, even though they have some bad offense here, but yeah, again, going back to what you said, Victor, I don't think it even matters being 3 or 4 because you'll probably get either the second place team or the third place team, the NFC North, and both teams would be pretty tough.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, you're just happy that you're in the playoffs and that you're hosting a team, and then you go from there. Delver says Rams almost with the belated Christmas present to Arizona. Who was to think the defense would be our bright side?
Hmm.
Can't play like this in the playoffs.
Yeah, good point, Delbert. And I also wonder for Seattle fans, who do they hate more, Kyler Murray or Trey McBride for that bounce pass for Ahkello
Yeah.
Witherspoon in the end zone?
Yeah, he looked pretty torn up there. Like it looked like he put the blame on himself and the in McBride I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and it seemed like Murray didn't really care.
Yeah. You should
Kinda,
catch that ball, but your quarterback didn't do you a favor by throwing a fastball. What are you doing
yeah,
there? Like you don't need to put a bunch of zip on it. And I've been critical of Kyler Murray. It was not a good game. I know he got 300 yards passing, but the interception before that too, he got lucky. The Rams went 3-and-out because that was a brutal pick too. He can't throw deep. He can't really push the ball down the
yeah.
field. Trey McBride is saving him and making him look good. So maybe more blame on Kyler Murray.
Yeah, and this is the second straight game where the opposing team, had better, offensive stats, but that didn't matter because at the end of the day, the Rams won both these games. So I know a lot of the Cardinals fans aren't happy with what happened today, and a lot of it has to do with Kyler Murray. We have G. Barisi who says Bills, Vikes, Commanders, Brown need 3 out of 4 from them. I'm not going. You pretty much saying I'm not going to cheer for the Niners. So
G, if it comes down to it and you need one more win and it's the Niners game on Monday Night Football, I'm gonna see if you're that committed to that because
yeah,
that's
I
really
know,
gonna
right?
test you right there.
Yeah, that's when you need. You know how? Remember, I think it was the Bengals quarterback who got them. I'm the Red Rifle when he got the Bills into the playoffs and they sent him a bunch of charity money.
Oh
That was
yeah,
yeah. I wonder
yeah,
if they would do that for Purdy. I doubt Rams fans would
yeah.
send
No,
something to Purdy's.
I
Um,
I wonder what Seattle fans are gonna send Kyler Murray and Trey McBride.
Something
It
not
was right
good.
there for them, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can only imagine for the Seahawks fan.
Yeah, no handicap 420 says, let's go. Defense won this. Stafford was trash, and we didn't run the ball. No boom is trash.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
nobody's a fan of Boom right now.
yeah, no. 3 holding penalties there. Yeah, not good. Willie Bones says, LA Rams need to focus on getting more touchdowns. Don't settle for field goals for the victory. Horns up.
Yeah, at some point you gotta wake up, but hopefully for them, they don't have to play in Week 18.
And I gotta say, it was good that they let Josh Carty kick some field goals in this game. He needed to get his confidence up, and he did really well today. So hopefully, you're gonna need him. Like I said, you can't give up on that kid. That's why you drafted him. You usually you shouldn't. What did I miss with the penalty on the punter from Delver Salgado?
Yeah, that was weird. He got the roughing penalty from a punter, which I can't remember the last time I saw that, Victor.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that. I even saw them looking up and he's like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like, when the
He's
when
like,
the
me?
when the camera, yeah, when the camera panned to him, yeah,
I was
yeah,
confused about it.
there was some weird stuff in this game too. Like, I felt like Cam Kitchen should have just let the ball drop instead of taking the interception there, just because it was fourth down,
Oh
but
yeah, good point.
you know and also the clock management by Sean McVay, where he gave the ball right back to Arizona where he should have ran the ball. I mean, and then the whole punting, and then them getting an extra second on the other side of the 2-minute warning. Like I said, there's a lot of things that Sean McVay got bailed out on here with this win.
Chris Shula, man, where you at? Thank you for
Yeah, Chris
the.
Shula,
That's
honestly,
what
like,
Sean McVay's probably saying. Thank you right now.
yeah, and a lot of people, I remember that when they were 1-4, a lot of people weren't happy with Chris Shula, and now, honestly, the 9-4 stretch has a lot to do with Chris Shula. Outside of the Bills game, which that's been the only bright spot for the offense. It seems like it's pretty much been Chris Shula who's in his defense who's carried this team during this 9-2 stretch.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we'll see how they go.
G. Barisi says our secondary has matured. Spade is a godsend, and the front four is legit.
Yeah, Omar Spades, man. I thought maybe he might have been one of those preseason darlings that does nothing, but yeah, I was totally wrong. This guy's saving their defense.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, if yeah, Spades like what was his name? The linebacker Troy Reader. Him getting hurt was what allowed. I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah,
it seemed like they just refused to play
that's
Omar
true.
Spades,
I forgot. I shouldn't
and
give the
and
Rams too much credit. Even they're
yeah,
probably surprised too because they wouldn't play him early on. I
yeah,
remember that. Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, if you want to thank anybody, thank Troy Reader getting hurt there. So
yeah. It took a while for him to take off. You're
yeah.
right.
Yeah, Willie Bowen says Witherspoon, Fist, Burst, Hoyt, the second coming of the force. I wouldn't go that far, but like I mean, this front
Mm.
four has been really good
Yeah,
for the Rams.
they're fun to watch.
No handicap 420 says if we can get a four receiver set with Puka Nakua, uh, Cooper Cup, Robinson, and Adderall, that would be dangerous. One of the things I thought that I really liked in this game that was from McVay was he put no, not Witherspoon, Whittingham in the backfield as a fullback. Gilbert, he gave him a couple plays as a fullback.
Yeah, I like that. Try something new. That he likes to do that at the line of scrimmage and having guys with the jet sweep. And remember who was I'm blanking on his plan. Skoranek was a fullback
Skoranek,
a
thank you.
couple of years
I
ago. Yeah, Ben
yeah, I was
Skoranek. So he likes to try things like that, which is good for players like that who know their assignments and know how to block and can also catch the football.
which is something I think we might see in the playoffs where he might catch something. You used to see that with Skoranek, where he would use him to block as a fullback, and then he have him go out in the boundaries and catch the ball too out of the backfield. So that'll be something to kind of keep. He's trying to give a lot of these teams he might face in the playoffs something to think about. So I like that. AMSS Cup and Robinson are killing us.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Robinson. Cup is way too quiet, and yeah, I would not count on Tutu Atwell to do anything.
And this is the one from James Wheeler. I said Rams failed to run the clock out and move the chains, but Witherspoon saved them. I mean,
Yeah, that was a brutal 3-and-out.
yeah,
I thought the game was over after the first Kyler interception.
yeah. Both Cincinnati and the Rams, I think, had like terrible clock management late in games, and luckily both of them won because I mean they were in position and their defense. I guess you could say, yeah, you can say for both of them, their defense bailed them out because eventually with Cincinnati, it was Joe Burrow. But yeah.
Yeah, one of them had a good quarterback and one didn't. We'll see if Stafford becomes good in a couple of weeks.
And I mean, even James is like, no excuses for the offense for the weather today. So they were inside. So
Yeah.
yeah. ESG says, I don't mind if the Rams end up as a 4 seed when they win the Super Bowl. They were the 4 seed.
Hey, yeah,
So
good point.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And Stevan says something is up with Cup. He's still blocking. I gotta give him credit. I have no problems with Cup. It's just he had the longest. I want to say he had the longest play of the game for the Rams, which was a 29-yard catch.
Yeah, I
But
remember
outside of
that.
that, he didn't do much.
Yeah, that was pretty early on in the game, right, where he moved the chains there. But yeah, that's the last time I saw him.
Brian Smith said I was trying to be booted off of a Seahawks channels tonight. They called me a troll. Why they were trolling the Rams game live tonight?
Oh, they were. Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, they must have been devastated seeing that
yeah,
interception in the end zone. I
yeah.
really thought
I
they were gonna
mean,
blow it. I'm like, it's gonna be a dark and gloomy post game show. Stafford does not look happy on the sideline, but
yeah.
they got bailed out, man.
No, honestly, I was coming in. I was gonna talk about the defense no matter what. I mean, that defense has stepped up for them, and I was just gonna, go in on the offense, but yeah, I wanted to make sure that we talked about the defense and gave them their flowers because they're the reason they've won these last 3 games in a row.
Yeah, the two interceptions and the 4 sacks, and then minimizing the damage from Kyler Murray and Trey McBride. They do it on a weekly basis. They did it last week in New Jersey. They did it in Santa Clara. Even in New England, when the offense was kind of shaky and New Orleans was a little shaky, these guys are road warriors, and they're also good at home too. So what can't they do?
Yeah, I mean they've been awesome the last 3 games, and like I said, they're the key to this 9-2 run. Jesse Bonilla says, in May Bay, I trust, run the ball, control the clock. That's how we win. And Notebook doesn't deserve to be an NFL player. Wow, people are
Yeah,
going in on Joe
yeah,
Notebook,
yeah.
man.
I've
Just
been
catching
harsh on the
strays.
guy, so I'll let you guys take shots at him.
Yeah, I mean, Ram fans, man, they know what they have in Joe Noteboom. So, I mean, I gotta say, at least they're honest with their criticism. Brian Smith says Camp Kitchens learned something tonight. Hopefully, yeah. I get it. You want to go after the takeaways there, but you got to know the situation. It was
Yeah.
fourth down. Just bat the ball down instead of taking the interception there and pinning your offense down at close to the goal line.
I get he's a rookie, but it's also tough in the moment to think that quickly. I get the best players do that, but also like if you try to bat it, what if it goes to a different player, like a Cardinals player, and then you get screwed over? So I know
Yeah,
it's kind of a freak accident, but obviously you want to take the ball at the halfway point of the field, and maybe you end up getting a field goal and you don't go 3 and out. But it's tough to kind of think that quickly. But I won't give him too much of a break there but he is a rookie.
yeah. I mean, he like Brian said, he learned something, and I think going forward, he'll know the situation. Don Malatesta says we desperately need Havenstein back as soon as possible.
They need to
And like I
rest next
said,
week.
yeah, and like I said, I if they won today, I don't think we see them at the Seattle game. Whether or not, I just think they'll try to save them for the playoffs. But if it gets desperate to where they don't get the enough wins here in week 17, I think
Mhm.
we do see them.
You
But
gotta play them. You can't save
yeah,
them if it's a win or go
hmm
home.
yeah. James Wheelock says Kitchens should have let it drop because it hurt the Rams field position. So yeah, right on. ESG
Mhm.
thing. I think maybe also got bailed out that the Cardinals weren't going 48 on fourth down like the Jets were. Like for every fourth
Oh,
down.
yeah. They're
Yeah.
such a conservative offense. When they needed to go for it on 4th and 10, that's when they go for it, but before that, they were way too conservative.
And honestly, thinking about McVay too, he was also super conservative because he has no faith in this offense. Like there was a couple of times where they were on fourth and short, and he just decided to punt with, which honestly I think was the right thing to do because his defense had been playing great the last 3 games or the last 2 games and this one. So why not, continue to just let your defense do its thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, but there does come a point in time where you gotta kinda let your offense learn during the mistakes and just say, "All right, man, 4th down, go for it, see what happens." But, this is one of those games where you felt like the defense is gonna be okay.
Yeah, I'm with you. Nate 323 says our offense has to get momentum plays and better play calling. Our offense, O line has to get better, and Rob killing us on right guard.
Yeah, everybody likes Rob Havenstein because they really need him.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's the last remaining St. Louis Ram on this team, and so I think he's now missed 4 or 5 games this season, and if they had that offense has not looked good whenever he's not been in there. So it tells you he is it's needed on the right side of that left of the tackle position. All good things says no boom is worrisome. Will having some be ready come play out time. I think if like we just said, it all depends on what happens. If they're able to, clinch after this weekend, they clinch the NFC West, then I think you just save them for the playoffs. But if they don't, you're gonna have to play them no matter what. I think that's the reality of it.
Yeah, this is for the future, but I think the Rams got to prioritize the tackle in the draft.
Hmm
I know the draft is not very loaded for tackles this year, along with quarterbacks, but they got to maybe prioritize one on day 2 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and Willie Bones says LA Rams need 2 backs in the backfield. I mean, that's part of the problem with the 31 personnel. The 11 personnel is that you only have one running back in the backfield, and so that's why I kind of like what they did with Whittington in the that's what I liked about what they did playing him at fullback.
Yeah, no, you got to try new things, but Sean McVay and the Rams, they never really go away from 11 personnel. And it wasn't, I guess it was a quiet day for Tyler Higbee. It was a quiet day for Cooper Cup. So when you have stuff like that, you definitely got to try new things and get more players involved.
Yeah, and I called them Whittingham instead of Whittington, so good
Oh.
catch, Steve. That was on me. ESG says, I'm hoping that McVay has something on the offense that he is waiting to unleash in the playoffs. I would agree. So it's a different kind of thing. We'll see what happens in the playoffs.
That's always the part that annoys me and annoyed me early on with the Rams that people just assume because Sean McVay is there, they're gonna have like a game out of nowhere that they do well. But when they've been showing you for a month, they're not doing well. But then that kind of came to fruition in that Bills game. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I was that's so annoying about these 2024 Rams is like, they have the pieces, they have the coaches. They're not showing it for long stretches though, and then you count them out, and then they go and beat up on the Buffalo Bills. So I think for me, what ESG is saying, I think I could definitely see them turning on in the playoffs, but they like to play with fire though.
Yeah, you just don't want to keep doing that. And they have the experience with McVay and Stafford, and you're just hoping that they can go on that run like they did when they won the Super Bowl. But especially with this young defense humming, you're just waiting for the offense now, and hopefully they can put it together when they get to the playoffs, if and when they get to the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with that. And then Delver says missing Tutu tonight, but great catch by Higby. And yeah, talking about Puros Cuernos, bring on Seattle. This was Higby's first start. He was officially the starter in this game, so his first start of the season.
Yeah, it's gonna take him time to kind of get going. I know he got the touchdown last week, but you can't expect him to go 0 to 100 right away.
Yeah, I got a couple more here and we'll finish off. ESG says Heaven starting is our Trent Williams. Um, yeah, he's been big for them. I can see that correlation. And Willie Bowen says Blake Corn should have played in this game a lot more. I would agree with
You've been
that.
saying that all year, Willie.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on there.
I just think McVay just doesn't have any trust in him. I mean, even with all the that's one of the things that has been impressive about Kyron Williams is that he's cut down on his fumbles. And even when he was having those fumbling issues, he would not play quorum. So it just tells you that he either hasn't picked up the offense or he just doesn't trust him.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a little bit of both. It just doesn't make sense not to play him. He was also kind of a top, not a total top draft pick, but he was a third round pick, right?
Yeah, I mean he was a third round pick, and you would expect, especially someone like him who won a national title with Michigan, that he would have a little bit more involvement in this offense, and he just hasn't. And I did like what they did last week in terms of he just said, "Hey, it's a bad." Maybe just said it's a bad day here in terms of the rain. I'm just gonna rely on the run since we're running it well, and that's what he did. But in this game, it was everything was just off on offense. There's nothing they could get comfortable with outside of Puka Nakua. Nate 323 says defense call playing was awesome to see more blitzing and getting Murray uncomfortable. Yeah, and that's something that goes back. And I know I keep pointing this out, Gilbert, but Eric Williams told us when we had that interview with him before the season that we would see a little bit more aggressiveness from Chris Shula than we did from Raheem Morris.
Yeah, why not? You have the front for it. The only thing is that in the early part of the season, you didn't have the back end for it to hold up in case you don't get there or you don't get home. And now that the secondary has been a little more reliable, you could do things like that. You could dial up the blitz plays a little more there. Again, they're not totally, they're not for sure a good coverage secondary, but they're getting better. They know where to go. They know their assignments, and they know most of all, they know how to be ball hawks. They know how to go for the ball there. So that's something you appreciate from this group. But maybe in the future they add a little more talent there. Now imagine all the blitzing they could do with that, and if they get more help in the secondary. But man, I gotta say, Vic, I did not see this turnaround for the secondary happening in November and December after how poorly they played in September and October for like about 10 weeks. It felt like.
Yeah, and even the second interview we did a couple of weeks ago with Derry, he even mentioned like I after the first four games, I wasn't so confident in what I had said, but yeah, I mean eventually it just came, the defense finally just got their guys. And all good things. I wanted to talk about this, and thank you for bringing this up. Would like to see more Jordan Whittington. One of the things that I've noticed is I don't know if you heard, but Scott Frost, who was hired, the former Nebraska head coach and
Yeah.
UCF head coach, he took his job. He's going back. He went back, or he's gone back but they brought in another someone to help out with special teams. I think his last name is Ackerman. And Chase Blackburn, I gotta just say, I know we all killed him last. We all were all critical of him last because he was the Rams had one of the worst special teams, not just that season, but in league history. And the turnaround that this special teams has been, has been a great surprise to see. And then part of it too is just putting guys in position. And Jordan Whittington has been one of those dudes that has done really well. Whether he's been playing as a gunner, he was the one that recovered the fumble late in the game against the Jets last week, and then him returning kicks now too. So he's not only been a someone that people want to see on offense, but he's been a special teams guy, a key contributor.
Yeah, I think part of that is that Chase Blackburn now has, 2 years under his belt in Los Angeles. And remember last year, it was a lot of first year players, second year players, undrafted rookie players. And that's a lot for a new coach and a new place to install the coaching philosophy and the principles by trying to teach young core players. And special teams had to be kind of an afterthought because they were shuffling the roster. And now you at least have a coach. Okay, this is what I expect. Talk to that guy and that guy. They were here last year. This is what I want to do now. And then for young guys like Jordan Whittington, where people kind of know what's going on, that helps him out, but helps him out a little more. But obviously, credit to him for grasping the scheme very quickly and making himself useful in multiple aspects on the football field. Because if you're going to be dressing on game day, what can you do? If you're not getting the targets, you got to do other things there. So definitely in plays like that. But also a shout out to Chase Blackburn for making it work after a kind of a rocky first year.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we always bring up when we're talking about the 53-man roster is what can you do as a rookie? And he's been able to do that. I mean, he's been asked to do a bunch of different roles, and he's exceeded in all of them. And I think next season is where you'll probably see a little bit more of Jordan Williamson in the offense. I just think they're going to sprinkle him in here and there. I think if we see him in the playoffs, especially if you see him playing fullback, you just be aware that they might use him to get out, into the flat or something and go catch a couple of passes there. Steve says, this is a wacky take, but I was at the game till the end of the third quarter, and what I saw was the Cardinals offense made more mistakes than the Rams defense stopped them. If Kyler decided to run more, the Rams would have lost.
Yeah, you can make that case there, Steve. And I've been frustrated with Colin Murray because uh, that creativity and being elusive and running away from the pocket and also being a creator, like if you're running with the ball, but also keeping your eyes downfield. Kyler Murray has not done that at all this year. If you've been watching his games, like I've been watching, that aspect is gone. And even in this game, he didn't really seem eager to go run out and make some plays here. So I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's him trying to be committed to the passing philosophy there, but that's really kind of giving him an identity crisis there. So yeah, you can maybe say the Rams got lucky, but it's been Kyler Murray all year. He's going through something there. Like he can't get on the same page with the coaching staff. He can't really throw the ball deep, and then when he gets frustrated, he stops looking down the field and he just throws it, and that's kind of been frustrating to watch. But yeah, it's a little bit of both there. But for some reason, he doesn't want to do that. Maybe he doesn't want to be reliant on that. Also, too, when you run and you're a smaller quarterback, you take hits, you're out of the game. So that could be part of it too.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for him in terms of just trying to fit into this offense. It seems like, and I mean, this benefited the Rams here, but yeah, he's been frustrated. I know for a lot of Cardinals fans, and a lot of them are asking what's next for him. But that's for that's for something we'll talk about during the off season in terms of what happens with Kyler Murray. But yeah, it seemed like if he had run the ball a little bit more, and then he took some weird sacks too, Gilbert. I just thought I was like, that's something that I don't remember seeing from him. Like he was usually able to elude a lot of those, sacks that we saw today. But
Yeah,
like I said,
he's not very good in playing within the structure of the scheme, and then he's lost his touch as a creator. So those are two bad things for him.
yeah, and then we got one last one here from All Good Things says Hoyt has 2 extra point blocks. Yes, it's 2 and a field goal block. So
Man,
he has 3 blocks altogether this season, which
impressive.
leads the league at least the NFL. So that's been impressive. Like I said, again, credit to Chase Blackburn and what he's done with this turning around this special teams, because like I said, the identity for this team now has to do with the defense and special teams. And it's coming into the season, we said it's going to be the offense, and then whatever you get from the defense and special teams is just gravy, and it's it's gone the opposite way, Gilbert.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But again, if you're a supporter of the Rams, you rather just not know what's going to happen with the offense until you get to wild card weekend and you're at home with the division title playing somebody. So, but if you have to force the offense to go back out there in week 18, man, you're gonna have to be sweating that game against Seattle. Because Seattle, I
Yeah.
know they had a terrible game in Chicago, but you don't want to have a win in your end game or win or you go home. We'll see how that plays out.
On
But
Sunday Night Football, perhaps.
yeah,
I
it could
mean,
be maybe Saturday night football. Who knows? But this scoreboard has to break the Rams' way, which it kind of has the last 3 weeks here. It's wild to me that it really has. But yeah, you better either hope that this offense is not doing anything for a couple of weeks, because that means you're going to go into the playoffs well rested, or all right, here you go. Here's the football on prime time Saturday or Sunday. What you got, offense? And that's going to be, I'm sure, I don't know about scary thought, but maybe a one that you're going to be kind of sweating a little bit.
we got one more here from Steve. There was a 4th-and-1 at one point, and McVay choosing a punt rather than go for it got me concerned, because I didn't feel like the Rams were stopping them, and the Cardinals seemed like they were hitting a momentum.
Yeah, it was one of those days where a bunch of like, okay, what could happen here? What could happen there? But
Yeah.
I keep seeing these games over and over again, and I know we got to get going. But the Rams defense, man, 9
Yep.
points last week, 9 points tonight, 6 points against the 49ers, man. Uh, Sometimes you got to win them ugly, and that's okay.
Yeah, just give me your final thoughts here in terms of, like you just said. I mean, it just seems like they keep winning these one possession games, and we've talked about giving McVay the credit in terms of him being more of a CEO this year, where not only is he playing, calling plays, but he's also been in meetings with the rest of the guys there, with the defense, with the special teams. So he's learning to be more of a CEO now. But I mean, they keep winning these games, or like I said, they're now what, 8-2 since 8-2. Does that sound right? No, yeah, 9-2. No, 9-2 since the 1-4 start. So
Yeah.
he's been able to rally this team after bye week. So he's got the right touch.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the numbers are, what the years is, but if the Rams make the playoffs, they might become either the first team in NFL history or the first team in a long time to make the playoffs back-to-back seasons after falling behind 3 games under
Yes,
500.
he would become the first coach.
Yeah, that's insane to me. So he's able to kind of, push it to the limit and hit rock bottom occasionally, and then come back up from the ashes. And they usually do that after the bye week. So
Right.
this is what they're doing again this year. And I'll say this for the final thoughts. You know, I think the Rams are going to get what they want on the scoreboard, and it's going to be a golden opportunity to rest your players, get a wild card game at home against one of these very strong NFC North wild card teams. And I think because of the rest and being at home, I could totally see them winning that first game. But to me, because they've been this Jekyll and Hyde offense, I don't think they're going to go further than that. Like, I know it's kind of, a bad reality check right now to hear after a victory, but to me, it just feels like there's a ceiling here, and it feels like the vision around because the offense can't wake up. But maybe they show it on wild card weekend, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna give this team a chance because they're capable of doing that. But I could definitely see something where they're rested, perfect situation, perfect opportunity that win that game. But because I've seen this story way too often for an inconsistent offense, it worries me for their ceiling. But I think right now nobody will complain if this team makes his way to the divisional round, and let's see what happens after that.
I think for me, it's the fact that you're going to win a division title. Like you said, I think everything's falling into place for you to win a division title. One that I don't think a lot of people expected, and that should be the thing you take away from this season, is the fact, I know there's still another game to go, and they're going to make the playoffs. I think, like we said, I think three of those teams are going to win, and then they're going to clinch the NFC West, and then they're going to be able to rest their starters. But I think for me, that's the biggest thing is the ability to win games has been really impressive, especially after that 1-4 start. And then the defense and the special teams. I mean, just seeing how good or how they've gone about winning these games, and it's just football is weird. Every season is different, and you just don't know what you're gonna get. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me, especially with this win. It just tells you when we think that finally the offense is going to show up, they don't, and it's been the defense and special teams. So I got to give a big shout out to Chris Shula and Chase Blackburn because they're the reason why this team is, on the verge of clinching a NFC West title.
Yeah, I never would have saw that coming after 1-4 and a lot of sluggish days, and to be here on the verge of getting the NFC West title, that's something definitely good for this team. And if it wasn't for that, potential Week 18 rest day, I probably would have been like, I think I might favorite the wild card road team because it's just the Packers and the Vikings, the Lions are so good. But everything just shaping up perfectly for this team, which is wild to think because it was just difficult, and you're in a giant hole after 1-4, injuries after injuries, and now you have this opportunity to be rested in Week 18. But again, let's see how the scoreboard shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility they get a whole week off and they get a bye week in week 18 as they'll use that as their bye week going into the playoffs. So now we wait and see what happens with a lot of those results from all those. Once again, I'll reiterate the teams. They need 3 wins from one of these. What is it? From the Commanders, Bills, 49ers, Vikings, or Browns. So if you get a combination of 3 wins from any of those teams, the Rams are the NFC West title. They win the NFC West, and then they get to rest their players on Sunday in Week 18, or whenever it is, Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, we'll find out, I'm sure, Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, let's get out of here, Vic.
Yes.
And it's turned out to be a good day for the Rams, regardless of how sloppy the offense was there. But like you mentioned, those games there, I think is going to break their way, and it's going to be shaping up for a nice Week 18. But you never know. Maybe Seattle gets a new life there, and we'll break it all down on Thursday for New Year's, the day after New Year's Day. So everybody enjoy the another holiday coming up. Everybody enjoy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, but also catch us on Monday for Four Compas. We're gonna break down week 17 and look ahead a little bit to the
Yeah,
wild
we'll talk
card.
about this game as well, and we'll know by then where the Rams are at, whether or not they're going to rest their guys. So make sure you check in on Monday as well.
Yeah, but let's get going. Good show, lively crowd here, a lot of comments. We love that. We
Hmm.
appreciate it. If you haven't done so, subscribe. If you haven't, be a compa, tell a compa about compas on the beat. Thank you, Brian. And you've been busy today trolling Seattle Seahawks fans, so I'm
Yes,
sure that was
we
good for you
appreciate
there.
that.
But thank you, Brian, for jumping on here and commenting. But thank you for everybody. A lot of comments today. We love it, but it's time to get going. Y nos vamos, pues, vámonos.